in a lot of cases when we're talking about gentrification, we're talking about neighborhoods where the original purpose of commercial buildings no longer exists. So if we think about all the old textile buildings in my land that were built very cheaply, mostly after the Second World War, to provide a place for textiles to be produced. There's very little textile economy left in Montreal, thanks to NAFTA and kind of other forms of other free trade agreements. And so the best use for these buildings economically for their owners is to convert them into condos. It's no longer to have them as textile buildings. But so that raises big questions, because there's a zoning change that would be required if we want to zone these to allow them to be residential spaces. And the interesting thing that happens if you leave them in their commercial zoning is that they don't become empty. The spaces continue to be rented out. They become rented out because of the way capitalism works at relatively low rents. So you could rent out this space as a loft condominium for potentially, $1,500, $2,000 a month. You can rent it out to a small business for like $500. And what that low rent provides is the possibility of startup businesses. And so, like, if you want to start a business from scratch, you need low rent. And so, to me, an economic question that arises with gentrification is: are you going to put in place a zoning regulation that allows these big lofts to be used for their most economically beneficial purpose for their owner, which would be condos, which are very nice for the owner and very nice for people to get to live in it, but don't contribute anything necessarily to the neighborhood, or the most economically beneficial thing for the neighborhood and for the society, I think, which might be low rent commercial space where a whole bunch of businesses that otherwise couldn't have gotten off the ground cannot get off the ground, potentially employ some people.